Hello and welcome back to the first episode of 2024, depending on when you watch the last episode, I guess. But we're back here with my good old buddy pal, Trent. How you doing, Trent?
Doing good. Excited to
we're
be
gonna
back.
Be talking...
Yep, excited to be back in 2024. And let's get into it.
Trent, don't you remember I allotted you one word for your intro? Yeah. You cannot give me multiple words. It throws off the timing because we're going to be talking about the Golden Globes, which is all about timing.
Yeah.
Because it's the 81st Golden Globe. And after pulling up the Wikipedia about eligibility, timing is the most important factor, as all nominations have to be from the calendar year of January 1st to December 31st. Who would have thought that?
Crazy.
Where do they come up with this stuff?
Absolutely wild.
But Trent, why don't you take us through the Golden Globes? Because not everyone watches these, even if you're into film like me. Yeah. I could care less what these people think is the best picture. But it is important for cultural reasons. So why don't you take us through it?
Yeah, and totally have a right not to care because it is just a big Hollywood get together where everyone comes and compliments each other, tells each other how good, give each other a big pat on the back for the year. But lots of people enjoy it, including myself, mostly just to watch who, if my predictions came true, if Jeremy Allen White actually is the best TV actor, if Oppenheimer truly was the best movie of the year. Right. So all those kinds of things. You also get to see actors hanging out with each other. You get to see Jared Leto talking to Nick Cage, talking to Ari Aster. So you could take that how you will, but could be good, could be bad. Some people could say that those three men could end humanity. So let's hop into it. So
they will end humanity. We just can't give them the resources. That's on us.
It's true. Can't ever have Jared Leto and Nicolas Cage in an Ari Aster movie. That wouldn't be good.
Don't let them have a conversation that lasts more than an hour. Honestly, keep those two men as far away from each other as possible. We don't need them teaming up. That would be scary.
Yeah,
but what was like the big one is what, like best director, best motion picture? What's like the big crown jewel that everyone waits on?
Yeah, it's usually the best drama motion picture. It all leads up. It's usually like best actor in a motion picture, best actress in a motion picture, and then you get a dramedy. Or in a drama movie, not dramedy movie. But you get a drama category, and then you get a comedy musical category. So you have like actress and actor categories, subcategories for each of those, and typically there's usually like 8 or something nominees for each category, and surprisingly, this year I feel like I watched a lot of the movies that were actually nominated, as in because in the past I feel like I've watched maybe like a couple of the nominations, but this year it feels like it's like every TV show they mentioned, every movie they mentioned, like I at least saw something about, and a lot of the stuff I feel like is weird because it hasn't even, like, it just came out in theaters. Like there's a Mark Ruffalo and Emma Stone movie that just came out called Poor Things, and that won a bunch of awards, but like it's just released in theaters, so that's kind of interesting. But
yeah, I'd wonder if there's any data around that of movies that were released like earlier in the year, getting less awards on average than movies that are released later in the year, because it is kind of hard to muster like any feelings towards like Barbie for me, for instance, and I saw that got the most nominations, but not the most awards.
Yeah. Yeah. And like a good example of that was like Air was nominated for a bunch of things, but like that felt like it came out a long time ago.
Yeah. Like 2020, honestly.
Yeah. So I think that people label the end of the year like award season, like Emmy season, because that's when or like Oscar season, because that's when like people are actually voting for the movies. So you want to get your movie out around that time of like when the ballots are sent out of like which movies are actually going to get nominated. So
right. So it's all timing.
Yeah, all timing. It all comes back to timing.
All comes back to timing.
So let's just go through all the categories.
Let's just jump into it.
Yeah, so actor in a musical or a comedy film, that was Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Talked about that a little bit. Right. He's great in that movie. There's a funny post where he was just like he was eating some In-N-Out with his Golden Globe after. He's just sitting in In-N-Out with his trophy or with his award, just chilling.
That is the most California thing you can possibly imagine, right there.
Yeah. So love to see that.
Yeah. Was AO nominated for that for Bottoms, or was Bottoms nominated for anything?
So, don't think. Let's see. Let's scroll down to. No. So the comedy motion pictures were Barbie, Air, May December, a new Netflix movie, Poor Things, The Holdovers, and American Fiction. I haven't seen American Fiction, but I feel like, I don't think that Bottoms like got recognized enough.
No, when I was thinking about just like the best comedies, when we were doing like our best comedies, I don't think there was a better comedy than Bottoms in terms of like being a comedy, because like Barbie was a lot of things and it definitely was a comedy, but like I don't know if I'd put it in that box of just like classic comedy.
Yeah.
As much as, Bottoms is just a classic comedy. Just maybe not the best, but more recognition,
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like for a lot of these, like they just go like, oh, this actor's a comedy actor, so we're putting the movie in comedy, like Air. I didn't really like, maybe there was a couple jokes in that, but that wasn't a comedy movie. And but like you could probably say that Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, they're like they could be comedy actors, so we'll put it in a comedy category.
I would say that I haven't watched. I've watched some of. Why am I blanking on the name of like the most famous show of all time?
Seinfeld.
Succession.
Oh, Succession.
I've watched some Succession, and Succession doesn't get put in the box of a comedy ever. Like no one is ever like, oh, Succession, the comedy. But like, there's more comedic elements in Succession from what I've watched than there is in The Bear.
Yeah.
Like The Bear's comedy comes from like situational and like but there's like not necessarily jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like people say jokes, but in the context
you're laughing at
the
characters. You're not like laughing with the characters. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I obviously like you're going to put it in a category and I'm not like offended that it's in any category because who cares? But I just find that interesting.
Yeah. So on that note, Succession won for best drama TV series over The Morning Show, The Last of Us, 1923, The Crown, and The Diplomat. I haven't seen a lot of those, but The Morning Show is kind of just a wild show altogether. You never know what to expect in that show. It's truly wild.
I have seen The Morning Show. I've seen the first 2 seasons, and I'm about halfway through season 3. So I'm aware of The Morning Show. I have kind of lost a bit of the luster in season 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just like the way it came out with COVID, like I found so interesting because it was like dealing with stuff that like no other scripted TV show had been dealing with at that time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was breaking new ground, and like all the Steve Carell stuff, like his whole character, Mitch, was just such a paradox.
The season 3, I don't think was as good as the other seasons. I think that the other seasons did win a Golden Globe, but so that was nominated, and then the guy who plays Corey, Billy Crudup, he was also nominated for Best Actor in a Drama Series, which I think he's probably the best. He's probably the best part of that show. The CEO of Telecorp or whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah, no, he's my favorite, and like he gives some like Joker vibes kind of thing.
Definitely.
I enjoy him.
Yeah. He's actually been in 2 different DC projects. He was played Flash. He played Ezra Miller's dad in the original Justice League. They recast him for the Flash, and he was in the Watchmen, the Zack Snyder Watchmen. So big Zack Snyder ties with Billy Crudup.
I could see that. It seems like they'd hang out. Like,
yeah,
not necessarily the actor, but the character in the morning show would definitely hang out with Zack Snyder for sure.
Yeah. So best musical or comedy TV series went to The Bear, and rightfully so. Jeremy Allen White and Io Adibri both won their awards as well that they were nominated for. So yeah, love to see that.
I feel like we should get like a Golden Globe, like if they want to cut it in half, but they should give us one for Jeremy Allen White for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
For emotional support.
Yeah. So we are the number 1 Jeremy Allen White podcast in the nation right now.
Yeah, we will fight anyone that tries to take that title from us. But if you just fucking break down the transcripts, no one has a higher average Jeremy Allen White per episode than the Variant Cast, and you could expect that to continue.
Yep. So that beat Ted Lasso, Only Murders in the Building, Barry, Jury Duty, and Abbott Elementary, which I think is a very strong category.
It's a very strong category, and I'm almost like, okay, what happens if the Bear's in drama, right?
Yeah.
What's does it beat Succession? I think it does, but I haven't seen all of Succession, so that's hard for me to say. Everyone says it's the greatest fucking movie of
Succession
all time.
might beat it just because it was the last season of it. But yeah, I think that The Bear is just such a good show.
It's such a good show, and it's hard to imagine anything being better than that. So I really got to get on my Succession grind, because if people are acting like that's better than The Bear, I got to see what the hype's about for sure.
Yeah. So we'll do only a couple more. So the best miniseries or TV film was Beef. I don't know if you watched Beef on Netflix.
I did not.
It's got Stephen Ewan in it and Lucy Liu, I believe. But it's a really great A24 series where somebody just gets into Stephen Ewan, like almost wrecks his car into her car, and then the whole series is just them having beef between each other, and it's great. So that one
sounds fun.
And yeah, I think that was probably one of the best mini series that I watched last year. I think that's pretty much it.
No Secret Invasion nomination?
Nope. Surprisingly, crazy. No visual effects nomination for. Actually, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp did get a visual effects nomination, which is wild.
I'm in the boat that I actually don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp looks that bad. I've always been in that boat. That's probably because I'm a big Shark Boy and Lava Girl fan.
I think it was for the Oscars, not the Golden Globes. But
yeah. This was the 81st Golden Globes awards. Just looking at some Wikipedia stuff. Oppenheimer won like the best film thing. There was this TikTok, and I'll send it to you if I could find it. So we can get some visual elements on this show so that we can watch this. But there's this. I didn't realize that Nolan fans were like Snyder fans, but more educated. But they still are a little cringy. And there was this dude that was like, "Oh, my wife, without me knowing, videotaped my reaction to the Best Picture and Nolan winning because I guess this is his first best picture.
Yeah.
And dude, when I tell you that this camera is on a tripod set up in his kitchen, pointing at him, looking at the fucking TV, just like, and then Oppenheimer hops up and starts clapping. The only guy in his living room, and of course his wife that totally took this without him knowing, doesn't move a muscle, doesn't make any emote at this, and just sits there. I'll send that if I could find it, because
definitely send that.
That's some comedy. And just kind of looking through the rest of these, there was I want to shout out Kieran Culkin. I've always been a big Kieran Culkin guy. He's a big reason I wanted to watch Succession. It was like the selling point that like got me on board. I think he's the best part of almost anything he's in. I can't think of many things that Kieran Culkin is in that he doesn't steal the show. And for that reason, maybe you don't want to cast him, because he will probably steal the movie with a banger performance like he always does. So shout out Kieran Culkin.
Hell yeah.
And then, like you said, Jeremy Allen White. This is the, like, it's a random list of white dudes, but it's a list of white dudes. Bill Hader, Jason Segel, Jason Sudeikis, Jeremy Martin Short, and Steve Martin, who I don't know the race of Steve Martin. That's guy from Only Murders. The other guy from
the
Only
Cheaper
Murders.
by the Dozen. Yeah.
I didn't know his name. Brazos.
Which of the Pickwick triplets did it? We'll never know.
Dude, that shit was stuck in my head for the longest time. If you don't know, there's this, what do they call it? Like a patter song, where it's like basically like a rap, and they repeat this in Only Murders.
So many
like,
times.
Which one of the Pickwits did? It goes on, and it will get nailed into your head. But yeah, shout out Stephen Yeun, shout out Bella Ramsey, and shout out the girl that just got cast as the name of the character everybody hates.
Abby.
Yeah, they just cast Abby. So that's going to be fun. I'm sure she's already been prepped not to look at social media during the airing of this.
Yeah.
And we can just...
Hopefully she gets jacked.
Yeah. I assume she is. Like, they're not going to... Like, that was kind of a key component of that character, if I remember correctly. Like,
yeah.
So it'd be interesting. But we did, in our last show, we obviously did our awards, which I would say is maybe a bit better than the Golden Globes. But we didn't have as many celebrities turn out to ours, so I understand less people are talking about it. But next year, be on the lookout for the second.
Mm-hmm.
But we did go over our Rotten Tots, which is our predictions for January movies. And we are about 10 days into January. As we record this, you're probably watching this a little bit after, but a couple weeks into January, and pretty much all of the movies that we've Rodder Totted have come out. So I haven't been on it, so I am about to hear for the first time how these movies did live with you guys as Trent takes us through that.
Yeah, so last episode we each did 2 tots, 2 rots. So Ty, you chose Bean Girls and you chose Night Swim as your tots, and as your rots you chose The Beekeeper and The Book of Clarence. Me, for my tots, I chose The Beekeeper and The Book of Clarence, coincidentally. And as my rot, I chose Kevin Hart's new Netflix movie. I can't remember the name of it right now. It's called Money Heist or something.
It doesn't matter. It's Kevin Hart's new Netflix movie.
Yeah.
He'll have a new one next month. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So and then I chose The Night Swim as my rot. So
okay.
You'll be surprised to hear that Mean Girls has a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. So nailed that.
Let's go.
The Beekeeper, also 73%.
Ooh, tough.
Yeah,
tough.
So David Ayer pulled this one through.
David Ayer. I mean, looking through, like he's generally a good director.
Yeah.
Really,
I forgot that he directed Training Day, which is a really good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a misstep on my part. But we live and we learn. That's my first loss so far. I haven't heard the rest.
Yeah. So the Book of Clarence, right? 76%.
Dang.
Yeah, nailed those two predictions.
Yeah.
And wait, go ahead.
So I mean, that's a huge swing in our rankings because I was 4-0 to start, you were 2-2.
Yep.
But just my rots being both wrong and those being your tots, big swing there. Big swing.
Yep. And not only that, but Night Swim.
Oh, no.
Night Swim is a 25%.
Oh no.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe I should watch the trailers before I pick these movies, but I had some hope in Sam Raimi. He wasn't directing it, but he was maybe producing it. I didn't even look that far, and I just know there was some love there. He might have talked to the guy a couple times, so was really hoping those conversations went well and he was able to rub off, but apparently not, as that is now a 3-point swing you hit me with.
Yeah.
So I went 1 and 3 in my predictions.
Yeah, I'm looking for the Kevin Hart movie, and I don't think it's out yet. So we'll have to wait for that one.
So we will patiently await the Kevin Hart movie to see if you overtake me in the rankings by just 1 month. I guess it was only 1 month, so not a big deal. But that puts me at 5 and 3 all time, and you're at 5 and 2. So you could be potentially the 6 and 2 with the perfect January, or drop to 5 and 3, and we can be tied going into February. So
yep,
exciting stuff. Make sure you guys are keeping up with this. It's a weekly thing, and if you would like to play along, tell us what movies we should have picked. There's not too much criteria for what movies you can and cannot pick. It just has to be a wide release. It can't be something that's only going to get like 5 reviews, like some indie thing. It has to be a wide release. That's pretty much the only rules for what you could pick. It could be streaming, it could be theatrical, whatever you want to do. So yeah, it sounds like you're shaping up for a good month. But I'll get you back in February for sure. For sure. But speaking of Rotten Tomato scores, I was surprised to see this Rotten Tomato score. A Disney Plus original came out, and it's an adaptation of a YA novel that doesn't sound like it's going to be great, but it's been pretty good as the Percy Jackson series has come out, and I'm just trying to confirm it. The Rotten Tomato is a 96% currently, and it's pretty good. What do you think about it, Trent?
I really enjoy it. I'm really liking the casting choices that they made, and the set design, and I really like how much more of the story can be fleshed out in this medium.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Is I'm constantly looking ahead while watching it, because if you know the story, you kind of know where it's going, and you're kind of thinking, I wonder what they're going to do with this. And I'm constantly blown away. I thought they were going to for sure change the the arch, because there's this story with the St. Louis Arch. If you've read the first book, or if you watch the show, you now know. There's like a little bit of a battle going on in there, and I really kind of expected that battle to just be relocated to like some alleyway or a forest, just because it is not easy to film at a real life location like that, especially one of that magnitude. But there's, they constantly are like proving me wrong. And this is what I think. I'm like, this is like some cheap CW thing. They're going to cut some corners. They're not going to show that. They're going to just show it like this, but they just keep proving me wrong. And the budget for this must be pretty decent. And I'm glad that it's popular, because it's showing that, hey, if you put some effort and money into things that you may not perceive as super popular, turns out they are, because Percy Jackson and the Olympians, I would call a sleeping giant of a franchise, in the sense that I don't think a lot of 40 to 50-year-old execs understand how big those Percy Jackson like stories and that franchise is, just because it hasn't been displayed on a wider scale ever. And we're finally getting to see that. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, the directing and the costume design and the visual effects are all really great as well. Like you said, the budget must be really good.
Yeah, it must be solid. I want to give a shout out to the cinematographers because there's been a few shots that I'm like, that's a shot right there. It's a shot and a half. One that's coming to mind just because I was talking about it was like when he's falling, spoilers, he's falling off the arch, and they give you the wide shot of it. And like, I just wasn't expecting to get a wide shot like that. So big ups to a lot of the cinematographers that this isn't just like a kid's show. They are putting time into this. I think my biggest request is that you just, after this one, assuming it's successful, the finale, the numbers are where you want, which from what I've heard, the numbers are where they want and exceeding them. I really hope that they just green light all 5 books, like just all of them, just green light all of them and like get them into production.
Get that shit filmed.
I want to see this cast grow up the way they're supposed to grow up. I don't want to see a recast. I don't want to see a 25-year-old pretending like they're 16. I want to see this cast grow up to be, and I know they aren't like, I'm pretty sure Percy Jackson's supposed to be 12. The kid's probably not 12. I understand that, but I just don't want adults playing these characters that they've shown as kids, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff gets stuck in production hell where you turn around and it's been 2 years and you still haven't seen the end of the 2nd season of Invincible. And I'm not trying to see that with this Percy Jackson cast, because I think it's something special. And if they're able to like complete the saga, I think that's something that, you know, that hasn't really been done since Harry Potter.
Yeah. And I want to say that's something that the show does really good is making sure that like you don't feel dumb while watching it, and you like making the viewer feel like you know what, like you know exactly what's going on. Like I feel like a lot of times, like especially in like Marvel shows recently, they just kind of just throw you into it and they're like you'll kind of figure it out as you go. But like this, it's like they're like, oh, like what is this god? Like what god made this? And it's like I appreciate that they kind of educate a little bit.
And I think that's the best thing they can do to sell people on this world, because like Hogwarts, for example, has all of these crazy fantasy elements, which this does as well, but it's more grounded in the sense that it takes place in our world, in the sense of like literally the United States. They're traveling the United States. And the fantastical elements can be silly if you don't do it right. And I think they've done it really, really well to where it feels like when you're reading the book, it feels like a fleshed out world. It doesn't feel like, oh, what if Greek mythology was real? It's more, oh, Greek mythology is real. How does that work? Great question. We'll show you.
Yeah.
And that's what I've also really liked just about watching it. And first couple episodes wasn't super sold on the acting, but as I've gotten further into it, and these kids have, you know, gotten a chance to kind of get more comfortable in the role and kind of show their chemistry together, I think it's really, really good job with the cast and directing, because I know directing kids around this age is not an easy thing to do. So shout outs.
Yeah.
But you did mention something there about Marvel TV shows, and I hear they're making a new one. And they just released the first episode as we're speaking of one of the quietest shows ever. And maybe that's like in terms of release, other than Marvel's What If.
And literally,
I didn't even know that came out.
Yeah. And literally quiet because the show is somebody who is deaf.
Yeah, look at that. That's a double meaning there. But I haven't seen the first episode because
the whole season is out. It's the first.
The whole season.
Yeah, so the first Marvel show that they've released all at once.
How many episodes? Because we got to get on this, like, viewer outreach and stuff.
5 episodes.
Okay, we could do that before the next show.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we can. For sure.
Yeah.
So how did you in the first episode? How was the tone? Did it feel like Daredevil? What did it feel like?
I was pleasantly surprised by it. It did feel a lot like Daredevil. There was a scene in it where it is kind of like, hey, remember Marvel's Netflix shows? Here you go. But right. No, the character is really interesting. I like the cast of side characters that they have. I think they all work really well. The Kingpin, he obviously a part of it since he's showed up in Hawkeye, and they kind of retell a little bit of the events from Hawkeye in the first episode from Maya's point of view, Maya being Echo. And I think that's all really well done, and I like the take on her perspective of things. I think they do a good job with the first episode.
Nice. I'm interested to watch it. I think 5 episodes is perfect for that type of show. I'm interested to see if it's going to be like a cohesive narrative or it's just a prequel to Daredevil Born Again. Because that's what it kind of feels like at this point. Yeah. It's like, oh, are you ready for Daredevil? Well, not yet, but here's your taste of what that's going to be. Yeah. So I don't know if that's why it was kind of put on the back burner in terms of marketing. But I'm very interested to see mainly how it ends. Like, how are they going to give this character that we haven't really seen much of a cohesive arc and a satisfying, I guess, conclusion, because probably not going to be an Echo season 2 just based on the way Marvel TV works.
Yeah, and I think that they're labeling this as a mini series. There's like a whole thing, like the intro, it says like Marvel, a limited Marvel series or something like that, like in the intro. So it very much makes it clear that this isn't like a normal TV show. But going into this, like, it was this one and the Agatha series that I had like probably the biggest question marks around, because they're just characters who we hadn't really spent much time with and felt like they didn't really do enough to warrant their own shows. A lot of people are talking about this maybe being like Marvel's Andor series, where like it kind of Andor's creator like famously said that he doesn't really like Star Wars. He's not really attached to the IP that much. He just wanted to like make a good show. He just wanted to tell a good story, and it just happened to be in the Star Wars universe. And that's why a lot of people either really dislike that show or really like that show, is because they like did something completely different. And so that's kind of what a lot of people are hoping that is going to happen with this show. And we'll have to see.
Yeah, I've come to the conclusion that Star Wars fans are just like sports fans that don't like sports. Yeah. You know I don't know if this makes sense. That's probably obviously a contradictory statement, but what I'm saying is like they do all the same things that sports fans do in terms of loyalties and hating on rivals and stuff like that, but they're doing it in a media that makes no sense to do it in.
Yeah.
So my advice to them is like, go root for like the Commanders or something. If you hate yourself, like, just go hate yourself, and then no one will think you're weird because you're just hateful because you watch the Commanders every week. That's normal. It's not normal to just hate on Star Wars every week while being a super fan of it. That's strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of unrelated to your point. Just I see a lot of random stuff. Shout out Saltier the Crate. But Marvel TV in general is in an interesting spot, and you kind of brought up Agatha there. I actually was super excited for Agatha because I really liked WandaVision, and it kind of feels like the first actual follow-up to WandaVision. I don't think like Multiverse of Madness had Wanda in it, but it wasn't the same story that was told in WandaVision.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it showed how she descended into that a little bit, like, hey, she did this and then that. But this is the first true follow-up. I hope we get some Ralph Bohner closure. They're really, really going into the X-Men universe, it seems. It seems like that's the direction. It's the X-Men universe. It's the Marvel universe. They're colliding. It's a lot of fun. It would be very strange if they left the Ralph Bohner thing just open.
Yeah.
And never had closure on that, because at this point, I don't know if it was intentional or not. Like what they're doing, I just don't think they're that stupid, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think good old Kev with his hat is that dumb. Yeah. So I think there's something coming in this Agatha movie that's actually going to have ramifications on the MCU, which we got in the Marvels, I guess. I don't know, man. I feel like nothing's happened in the MCU since Endgame.
Yeah, do you remember how there's just a hand sticking up out of the ocean and nobody's ever talked about it from Eternals?
Wasn't there like one random news clipping?
Oh, yeah.
Like, one thing that's like, why is there a hand in the ocean? I think that one's actually planned.
Yeah,
I think they have that
as a next like set piece for a battle or something. Like that's just ripe for a big battle around a big hand.
I think I saw there's this guy. I've talked about him on the pod actually before. His name's A Bit of Everything. Super into the MCU. Like he knows every plot point. And I watch him to go to bed a lot because he's just like, he talks for a really long time about these Marvel things, and it's somewhat interesting. I could probably get him on the pod. He's not like a huge sut guy. I think that would be fun. But he has like just ideas of when these are going to pop up, and honestly, they make a lot of sense. I don't know what I think it might have been Thunderbolts for like this movie or something, or like Armor Wars, or someone's just stealing resources from it, and like like the most MCU plotline ever is some evil guy is using the like pieces off the hand to make some evil weapon. Yeah, like it's just the most MCU storyline ever. So that's probably what it will be. Is some evil organization like will take over. Probably be like the 10 Rings. Yeah, but yeah, that's some where the Marvel TV is. I do have some rumors here.
Let's do it.
If you guys are wondering where we get these rumors, it's just from a subreddit, movie leaks and rumors. I just happened upon it one day. Said this is interesting. Let's just read them. The last time we left off there, we were talking about Dwayne Johnson in A24, and how he wanted something that didn't have more, wasn't about the box office. It's about the humanity. It's about the humanity, Dwayne. But there's was a leaked video of supposedly Christopher Nolan's Peloton instructor. Right? So
okay.
Nolan's on his fucking Peloton, just like watching his instructor, and
still in a suit and tie.
Yeah, of course. And we don't have video of him, but we do have video of her, and I think she knew like he was in there, so she's like engaging with him. She starts talking about the movie Tenet, and she just goes like, you have to be like, she's doing like, she's lifting weights and she's doing this. She's like, You have to be like a neuroscience to understand that thing. That's 2.5 hours that I want back. Movie Tenet.
That's so funny.
I'll send the clip for the video watchers, but the top comment is just, I absolutely love the mental image of Nolan riding on his Peloton and this just coming up.
That's hilarious.
And then Jenna Ortega, the girl that's in every headline despite never really doing anything, is going to star in Taika Waititi's Clara and the Sun, which sounds like a new IP to me, but that will probably be good. I like Jenna Ortega. I just don't know why everyone's obsessed with her.
Yeah.
What are we doing, guys? Willem Dafoe now. Willem Dafoe now owns a farm of different animals, quote, just for the pleasure of their company and to try to give them a good life, which is a little naive. I don't know why this is a leak or a rumor, but I'm here for it. I want more of this content. I got to know what kind of animals Willem Dafoe has on this farm. Is he breeding animals? Are they for livestock? Is he just letting them live in the field? Is it a farm at that point, or is it just a zoo?
Yeah.
These are the questions that need to be answered, Willem.
Don't let Chris Pratt near Willem Dafoe's farm. That's all I'll say.
Martin Scorsese plans to direct his new, quote, this is the title of the movie, it's in all caps, Jesus movie later this year. The film will run 80 minutes and most focus on Jesus core teaching in a way that explores the principles but doesn't prophesize.
Set in modern day, he said.
Set in modern day?
That's what he said, yeah.
That's hilarious. I'm excited for that now. I thought it was just going to be some boring historical retelling.
Yeah.
But like modern day, I don't know if it's what I want though. I want like Jesus modern day.
Yeah.
But like everyone hates him. Because like, I mean, they hated him back then. Why would they like him now?
You're looking for a little movie called Bruce Almighty.
Okay. I've heard of that. I'll get on that.
No, it's just Jim Carrey gets given the power of God.
I see. Wolverine and Deadpool. Fighting in Deadpool 3. I think this is a video leak, which I don't generally watch because I don't like behind the scenes, no CGI fights. But can't confirm they will fight. Everyone's shocked. I know it's a big leak. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Oh, that's the baby Yoda movie is in the works. You were talking about this earlier. Jon Favreau is set to direct with a theatrical release planned. I could see this movie doing really well, especially since it's got Baby Yoda in the title.
Yeah.
I imagine the poster is going to be very enticing. I think this is probably the first big Star Wars movie since The Last Jedi. I don't think any Star Wars movies have come out since then. So yeah.
Yep. No other Star Wars movies since Episode 8. This will be the first one released since then. But Mandalorian, I feel like probably the biggest part of Star Wars that Disney had since they bought Lucasfilm. Like, he's definitely the most recognizable image. So, I think that this is probably going to do really well.
Yeah, Baby Yoda kind of transcends most modern Star Wars. Baby Yoda is like a cultural figure at this point.
Yeah.
The amount of merch you see, like I'm looking at your background right here. Like, come on, a testament here. Yeah. He's cute, he's marketable, and I think the movie's going to do really well. So that was a good call considering they already have a lot of the groundwork.
Yeah. I would love if they took the traditional approach to making this movie and didn't do it on the LED wall. I know it's convenient. You could do it on some scenes, but I would really like them to, fly out to a jungle in South America, fly out to Ireland,
at least once.
Yeah, and give us like a epic space western, like Mandalorian should be.
I think they should do that. One, not because I think that it looks bad. I think the LED screen, like a lot of it is people knowing that it exists and becoming conscious of it. Yeah. But also there's definitely like things to it. But I think people would notice if you did that because it would look different than the show. And I think that's what you need to do anytime you're making a movie about a show. Mm-hmm. You need to elevate it. And like you'd always be able to notice, like even as a kid, like the Zack and Cody movies, right? They had like movie cameras, and it's like, oh, this is different.
Yeah,
this is something I'm not used to seeing. I'm used to seeing like set TV show cameras. That's a movie camera.
Yeah,
with the people that I know.
The Wizards of Waverly Place movie.
yeah, right there. They used probably not a film camera, but they used a higher quality camera with some soft focus, and it's a movie.
Yeah.
And then there on this leak page, there's a leak of Daredevil and Echo. Spoiler: Daredevil will be an Echo. The first look at the Madam Web suit, which I guess I have 3 things to send you. There's the Madam Web suit. It looks like you would expect. Looks good though. It's red.
Where the first picture was released though. Somebody found it on a Crest toothpaste bottle. Yeah. So love when companies just are like, you know what? We haven't even put out the first look of our movies. Let's just go ahead and throw out our characters on bags of Skittles and Crest toothpaste.
And then the final rumor is that Supergirl is being cast right now. There's obviously a lot of people that want to be Supergirl. A few of the names would be Meg Donnelly, who, if you've been watching the Disney Channel recently, you probably have seen her in such great things as Zombies 2, and Zombies 3, or American Housewife, The Winchesters, High School Musical, the series, the movie, the series,
High School the musical, the series.
sorry, I'm not up to my scuff on that. So there's her, but then there's also Amelia Jones, who I don't recognize anything she's been in. She was in Brimstone. She's looks like 21. Meg Donnelly's 23, so they're going right in that early 20s range. And then Millie Alcock is the last one. She debuted as a young, I never watched,
Rhaenyra in Game of Thrones.
Look at that.
Yep.
He was on it. And then she was also in House of Dragon and Upright. So it seems like they're continuing. They're not going for names. They're going for people that they could build the universe with. Kind of seems consistent with all the casts. Hey, who is going to be available if we want to do a video game? Who's going to be available for voice work? Because that's like the big ambition of this DC universe. Is it's the same person across all mediums. Who knows if that's going to be true, but But that's what we got in terms of rumors. So go ahead and finish it off talking about what we've been watching and what's going on in our worlds. I did want to give a shout out because yesterday was an emotional day for me. If you watch the show, one of my other comfort fall asleep YouTubers is Game Theorist, aka Matt Pat, with his nerdy ass voice that is always coming in there talking about lore. He is retiring from YouTube. He's done. He's gone. It's kind of this wave going on right now where a lot of the YouTubers that my generation grew up with, people in their 20s, they're kind of leaving YouTube, understanding that this space isn't meant to, you're not meant to be in this space forever. And at a certain point, you are kind of losing your passion behind it, and you're making videos just to make videos. And if you have the means not to do that, then maybe it's best to do that. So kind of an interesting period in YouTube history where all of the old guard is kind of getting cycled out, and it's now this new wave of, I guess, just algorithm chasing, and you got to keep up with it like we're trying to here.
Yep. Just trying to content farm.
Just content farm. So I watched the Hunger Games for the first time, the very first Hunger Games for the first time, and then I also watched the Ballad of Birds. I can never remember the title. It's the worst title that anyone has ever made. And I know all the Hunger Games movies are long and drawn out titles, but the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, there's too many S's, doesn't work, has a 64% of Rotten Tomatoes. It's a prequel to all the other Hunger Games. We start out in the first Hunger Games is like the 70th Hunger Games or the 80th, something like that. And the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the 10th Hunger Games. So it's way in the past. And it's telling the story of the president, last name Snow kind of guy, type beat. I was very confused the whole time waiting. I knew it was a prequel, but I was like, oh, is that going to be like Katniss's mom right there? Hey, that's got to be like Katniss's brother right there. So I was doing that the whole movie. Turns out 70 years, not even close. So it ended up being a extremely long movie, nearly 3-hour movie, broken up into 3 parts, which each part taking about 45 minutes. And it feels it at the end. First 2 parts, I think, are really, really good. I think it shows a little bit more backstory behind the games, more world building that you would expect, and overall has a really solid narrative that makes sense, checks out, that you feel good about. And then the part 3 comes around where they had to tie it into the universe, and it gets a little messy, but overall pretty decent movie. I think a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes is definitely warranted. If you are not into the universe, you probably won't have the best time, especially as you get further into it. But overall, pretty interesting. And then I watched the first one after that. I guess I decided just to start watching them in chronological order. And the first one is also good. It's like the games. I think something cool that they did in the prequel is the games are a lot smaller. They take place basically inside of one dome type thing. There's not all of the running around and futuristic stuff that you see in the first one with just like holograms popping in and out and stuff. But you get that in the next one, and it feels like, I almost kind of recommend, if you haven't seen Hunger Games, to watch it this way, because it feels a lot more exciting to me that there's this cool stuff, because the last one was just like very just bare bones. So you get to kind of see that evolve, and I'm excited to see how the games evolve through the, 4 more movies I have to watch.
Yeah. It's only 3 more.
So only 3 more. I thought there was like multiple parts of the second one or something.
Just the third one, I think, has 2 parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're almost there. Only 3 more, and I'll give you my thoughts on the whole franchise. But overall, interesting movie. What about you, Trent? You been watching anything?
So I recently watched Wonka in theaters. So went and saw that. Really good. Wasn't totally expecting to love all the songs going into it, but a lot of them were really fun, really charming. Thought the Oompa Loompa stuff was good. there's a lot of fun and silly bits in it. There's a lot of callbacks to the original one. Not very much references to the Johnny Depp version, but love the references to all the Gene Wilder stuff. And I think Timothy Chalamet did a really good job portraying a young Willy Wonka. We'll talk about it more once you see it. But
yeah, I'm probably gonna wait till it's released digitally, which has to be soonish. I'll watch the advanced one. It's like $20 or something, but I don't really feel like going to the theater right now. I'm tired, man.
Yeah,
got some theater's like a whole thing, man.
Yeah. Other than that, been watching this show called Sneaky Pete on Amazon Prime. It's got who's this guy's name? It's like Giovanni something. It is Giovanni Ribisi. He was in Avatar. He's been in a couple other things, but he plays like this con man who tries to, when he gets out of jail, he tries to take over the life of his cellmate and try to like infiltrate his family and try to take all of his money because his family hasn't seen him in like 20 years. So it's a good series. It's produced by Bryan Cranston and the producer of Justified, another show that I watched last year that I really enjoyed. So it's got a lot of the same vibes as like Breaking Bad, Justified, like those types of shows. But it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, nice. That's I feel like a good way to end this show, being the first show of 2024, would be talking about what we're most excited to see this year.
Yeah.
Just in general, I think thing I am most excited in the immediate is I want to see season 2 of Invincible. I would like to have seen it all already, but I guess animation's hard or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then I'm excited, obviously, for The Boys. A lot of Amazon projects coming up. I'm excited for The Challenge season 40, which I believe is starting to cast now. So I imagine we'll probably get that at the end of this year. Yeah, end of 2024. Probably see that. Hoping to see a lot of the favorites back there, as well as The Traitors season 2 coming out. It's going to be a banger of a cast for reality. And then if you really excited to see the Deadpool movie, really want to see what they do there, as well as that Civil War movie coming out with A24. I think that's just an interesting scenario that I'd like to see a big budget movie tackle, which it's not a huge budget, but it's a substantial one.
Yeah. I'm excited for Dune 2 to come out. Excited for more Denis Villeneuve. Excited for go back to Arrakis, see some giant sandworms.
Yeah.
Also excited for Abbott Elementary. That should be coming out in the next month or so, I believe. So real excited for that to come back. Been a long time. Yeah. Maybe Game of Thrones comes back this year. House of Dragon. Heard some crazy stuff happens later in the story for that. So looking forward to that. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. Should be a exciting year for film, television, and all the such. So make sure you're keeping an eye out. And if you don't want to keep an eye out and you just want to come to one place to get all of your news about movies, TV shows, well, you're in the right place. You just watched an hour of it. So appreciate you for doing that. And we'll catch you guys next week for another edition of the Variant Cast. You got any parting words for us, Trent?
Nope. Go watch some A.O. Debris movies. Go watch Bottoms. Go watch The Bear.
All right, you heard him. We're running it back next year.
Yeah.
One Golden Globe for the Bear cast is not enough.
No, not enough.
It's got to be a yearly thing, so make sure you're going out and watching those, spreading the good word of Jeremy Allen White and and as we get out of here, you guys have a great day and good luck in 2024. Peace.
Deuces.